we'll start now. Okay, this is sound check. You can hear me, Mama, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, Mama, thank you very much for making this happen. And everybody who are actually on the webinar at the moment, I would like to thank you for making time and dedicating some of your schedule and time slots to be here today. If you are watching this webinar on a replay, then I would like to again thank you for dedicating time to watch and try to better yourself and try to learn something new. This is the way how we actually proceed forward in life, and the only thing is that we keep on at it till something clicks. You didn't need to know everything, but sometimes at some point a specific thing, specific factors aligns, and then the change happens. And this is what's all about, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So let me just go on. There we go. So yes. So how to get unstuck and what are the life handbrakes? So if I would ask you a question, starting off by asking you, have you ever had an idea that's something that you want to do? Perhaps a business idea. Maybe you would like to have your own business. Maybe you want to change your business. Maybe you want to change your job, or even do a full career shift where you want to change the career completely. Well, I know that already because I did 6 times career shift. I'll talk about it later. But perhaps maybe you want to get study something new or learn something new. Like, for example, you study medicine all your life. I don't know where we come from. Where we come from, I'm from Egypt, and we study around, like, I don't know how many years, 7 years, I don't know, to study medicine. Whatever that X amount of years that you'd be dedicating your life to start to study medicine, and then all of a sudden you want to shift the whole career to do something else. Are you crazy? This is what people would say. And your family is going to think you're nuts. But something deep inside you wants you to do that, or wants you to go in that direction. Did you ever have something like this? An idea, or a concept, or a feeling that you want to go towards a certain direction in life that nobody around you, or very few people around you, could understand? Well, if that's what you're thinking about, then the life handbrakes comes in, which is every single time you try to do something out of your comfort zone or something new to you, what happens is that your brain starts to give you all the kind of reasons you wanted to take the step forward. But then again, what happens is that you get all these reasons why you shouldn't do it, and then you talk yourself out of it. Did this ever happen to you? Because if it did, then this is, my friend, is a life handbrake. This is something which we're going to learn today how to actually eliminate. Moving on forwards, I'd like you to, my name is Hisham Sharbini. I'm the Wake Up Coach. And for the people who cannot see me, on the other side, there is my photo. So you can have a picture to the voice on the other side of the mic. I'm the guy who's really nice and loud in the background. So once again, welcome to everybody who made it here today. And speaking about time investment, we all, I mean, one of the things I believe in is that time is one of the most expensive commodities on the face of the planet. Someone said that. And because time is important and you know the value of time, what I'm doing today is that I'm going to do my best to add value to your time spent here, because you are investing your time. I am investing my time, and both of us are here during this session. So I will do my best to add value to you to make it worthwhile. So let's start off by try not to waste your time by telling you in advance what to expect, what you're going to be learning on today's webinar, and see if this is something for you. Then you can go ahead and stick around. You're going to learn a lot. We're going to do a lot of brain picking and thinking. And if this is something not for you, or you don't think about it, at least I saved you a few long minutes. So what we're going to talk about in today's outcome is the reasons behind getting stuck. Now, why do you get stuck? Why would you have a problem or something you want to do? You wanna. Okay, let's give an example. You want to start your own business, and you are always in the stage of starting your own business. Or You would like to change your job to something different, but you're back and forth between the decision, because if you leave your current job, you lose the perks and the benefits. And if you go to the new job, which you really want to do, it's probably has a starting point, and you really don't want to downgrade, if we would say, your status at the moment. So you're stuck. You want it, but you don't want it. Or 100 different million scenarios. So why do we get stuck? Once you know the reason, you do get actually to get to know and how to overcome it. It's the matter of like thinking about, you know how a computer hacker breaks the system? He knows everything about the system, right? Wrong. He does not need to know everything about the system. All what a computer hacker needs to know to break the system is just to know enough. When you know enough about how a system works, you can break it and go through it. And this is what we're doing today. So this is understanding the reasons behind getting stuck would help out. Now, the second outcome would be understanding the reasons of why staying stuck. I mean, think about it. I'm stuck. Life sucks. Things are not really doing the direction that I want to. So why am I here? It takes no brainer that I need to change, that I need to take steps. I don't like the miserable bubble that I'm in right now, whether it's of course, if it's business, life, pleasure, relationships, learning something new, changing a life path. You know already you want to do it, but you don't. So you stay stuck. The reasons behind that are coming in a few minutes. Now, moving on. Now, let's say we're going to eliminate the breaks and take off all the reasons, and we understand everything, and now we're ready to take the step forward. Now, how do we assess the risk? Do we take the risk or not? Do you need to take a risk or not? And if I would like to take a risk, how is it going to be? Is it good for me? Should I actually take a risk or not? Now, all these reasons adds up all together into the way your brain thinking and the way you take the steps forward. At the end, at the end of the day, if you ask a question, are there any magic pills? Is there a magic pill that if, or a workaround or a secret that if I've done it right now, things are just gonna go crazy? Is gonna work for me? Are there any hidden information that I do not know that's gonna take me there? Well, I must tell you something. There is no magic pill. Or is there? You see, it's all about perception. When you listen to what I'm about to share with you today, and you don't take action, then nothing happens. Then you're actually in the process of getting out. You're still staying stuck. But to turn the information, or what we're about to share today, into a magic pill, you're gonna need to get inspired to take action. Taking action always sets things in motion. You start to go further on down the road and try to have different changes in your life, and this is what makes the difference. People who would love to change their life, but they just daydreaming about it, you don't go anywhere. And when you think about it as an analogy, think of yourself as, I mean, if you're like 90 years old, and you're thinking back about life, are you going to be happy of your younger self right now? Or if you're 90 years old, or you go to 150, 120, whatever the number is. But when you think back about life, about this current state right now, here and now, are you happy with your life? Are you making the right decisions? Or when you reach 100 years old, you're gonna go back and think, oh, I wish I did this, oh, I wish I did that. Regret sucks. So the concept is you either live your life following the herd and just go passing on life like every other person, which is, by the way, has no problem at all. There is absolutely no problem by living like everybody else. My problem with people and with myself is that if I have something deep inside me, I need to get it out, and I need to take my steps forward and act upon it. And I want to do what I love that I want to do, even when having hardship, because I do not want, and I refuse that when I go to a very, very late age or whatever, you know, I go 90 years old, I go and look back and I say, oh, I regret this, I regret that. And this is how you want to live your life. by choice. So, so when we think about it, why are you here today? Why should you listen to me? If you don't know me, I'm sorry that you don't. I should do. I mean, I heard Eric Thomas says this, and I quote this from him. He always liked this, and I really loved it. So I'm using it, but giving him the credit for. He says like, if you don't know me, I'm really sorry that you don't know me, and I'll do my best to more people to know me, to get to know me. And this is, here I am. I'm telling you, if you don't know me, that means I'm not doing much enough noise for everybody else to know. I'm trying to reach as every possible person as possible, which is, in this case, if you are watching this, whether online, offline, do us all a favor as well and share the information. Click the share button, share the broadcast, the live call, the seminar, the webinar for your friends and people around you to get to know and to spread the information. By the way, adding value to others is a great thing for you to actually grow, not just keep stuff. So share away. So why should you listen to me? If I'm a random guy or somebody that you don't know before, and you just happen that you stumbled upon my video, why should you know and why should you listen to me? Okay, the simple answer is that I have changed my career 6 times. And I'm saying change my careers means like I did actually change a full career shift, which has jobs has nothing to do or activities has nothing to do with each other. And I took a lot of hits with no particular order. I was in the graphic and design field. I shifted to different fields like aviation industry, like the Emirates airline. And I did a great job there. And I shifted to become a fitness and wellness mentor, a TV host, project manager, international speaker. So what I'm saying is all of the stuff is not connected, or it seems to be maybe, but it is connected. It's who you are, who you want to be. So I hit rock bottom probably 3 times in my life, and rock bottom means that you really don't have the money at all, especially living in a country like UAE, where you reach a point where I had these times where I didn't have any, I literally had to weigh the options where I'm driving to put gas or take the next meeting and actually buy the coffees and stuff. And it sounds ridiculously weird, but that was the case. I was so low on money that it hurts. And down there, when you get these hits, when you hit rock bottom, this is where your actually character shows. And this is where you're going to go when you go to a risk assessment. We'll talk about it a little bit more. You know, is it worth it? Was it worth it? Do you want to change it? You want to keep going? And then you have a life connection between you and yourself. Now, I was in your place. I am in your place, and probably I will be in your place again. And this is what's life all about, at least from my own experience. So I do feel the pain. I do feel I can relate to your anger and frustration. I've been there several times already. Now, the starting off question is that, do you have an idea that you really want to do? Is there something that you feel deep inside that you want to do? Maybe you want to learn something. Maybe you'd like to come open up, learn fitness and wellness and open up your own business. Maybe you would like to have your own bakery. Or maybe you would like to apply for a different job and a different career, or maybe take that promotion, or go on stage and speak to people. Or maybe there is something, a barrier, as small as a barrier that you want to break through, is that there is a problem happening between you and your coworkers, and you want to take that step, but you're still leading towards like, should I do it, should I don't? It's the simplest matter of decision making. We always are governed by our brain. How to take the step forward, is it worth it or not, and all the stuff which we're going to be talking about today during the course of the session today. So if we retrieve back and ask you the question again, what is it that deep inside you that you want to do? Something. It doesn't have to be related to work. Maybe it's work, maybe it's relationship, maybe it's something that you want to learn, maybe it's a new place or destination or a country, something that you really feel inside, this feeling that's something that you meant to do. What is that thing? Now, what I would like you to do is, what I want to ask you to do is that from this point onwards, we say a word in Arabic and Egyptian slang. It's like hafiz mish fahem, which means a person who actually memorizes things but he doesn't understand them. And therefore, what I'm going to ask you beyond this point is to do not take any notes, do not write anything at all. All you need to do is you give me your undivided attention till we're done. The only time you can take the pen is that when you want to write a question to ask later. The reason for that is that I am against memorizing or writing stuff down. I am a supporter of understanding. You see, when you memorize steps and you forget one of them, you cannot connect the dots. But when you actually understand how things work and you get stuck somewhere or forget one of the points, you'll be able to bridge the gap. And therefore, the session today is more likely of a chat, as I mentioned earlier. We are chatting. We're just getting into a brain picking session. So how would the brain works? Now, from the screen that you see in front of you, it looks a little bit, there is a A and B. This is not the left side of the brain or the right side of the brain. This is actually a different factors or reasons why our brain, why do we do what we do. So when you want to take that step and you are stuck or you're still stuck and staying stuck, there is two factors. There is an internal factor and external factor. So I'm going to start by the external factor, the A section, the blue one. So let's give a scenario. I remember when I wanted to quit the aviation industry and move on to become a wellness mentor and a speaker in general, talk to people. The first part was family. Your family, I had these questions like, why do you want to do so? What's going to happen if you fail? You see, your family will always give you the reason. They're going to be the number one people who's going to always tell you why you should not do what you're about to do. And the reason for that is that they don't hate you, but actually love you, and this is a protective mechanism. They always want to see you safe, because if you're not, it creates an added stress to them being worried about you. Think about it. If you have a younger brother or sister, you would always look out for them. And when you look out for them, you're always worried about them. But sometimes, especially if you're from a Middle Eastern background like myself, your family will always be super overprotective that does not allow you to just go and try and just get hurt or bleed, because they want you nicely wrapped up, fluffy and safe. And hence why so many young people don't actually go get a job as they work if their family are already they have enough money and in a good status. Like there's no reason for the kids to work and learn something new. And this is actually a whole different topic, but it's not for today's session. So your family always take care of, want to make you safe. So I do remember that one of the questions that pop up, from my family members is that, why do you want to leave the aviation industry? You're traveling the world, you're getting a lot of money, you're doing whatever you want, you own your time and stuff. Why would you do so? What about if you fail? What if you don't have the money? You know what? Trust me, this is not going to work. What about if you just do it on the side and don't leave your job? No, it's a stupid idea, or like it's not a really smart idea. And that was the questions that I got to try to shake things around, to keep you safe, to keep me safe. Now, probably 99% of people would do so, would try to keep you safe from family members. You can have 1% if you're lucky that would actually support you. Like in this case was my wife. And she says, when I said like, hey, honey, I want to leave the aviation, I start to do my own stuff. And the answer was straightforward, was she got enough information about it. And the first answer, the answer was, okay, if this is what you want to do. Now, how crazy is that? Now, I know people that, friends of mine and people that I know, if they just want to change their car model, their family, or it says no, and their wife is like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't upgrade, we need the money, we need this. Like, we always want to be safe. Well, luckily, not in my case. So that's the family. They want to always keep you safe. You need to be aware. Remember when we spoke about how a hacker breaks the system? And once you break the system, you need just to know enough about it in order to break the system, not everything about it. So that's the family. Now let's move on to friends, which were another factor of the external aspects of why do we stay stuck. We want to act upon our dreams or upon our stuff that we want to do. The friends. Your friends, somehow like your family, but with a little dialed down intensity. They would tell you, yes, it's a good idea that you and that doesn't mean that your friends are bad friends. It's just that somehow we always, we're used to do a comparison, self-comparison. And even you're doing it right now. I'll show you how. Your friends will always try to test what you're about to do if they can do it themselves. So if you have a close friend of yours, think about it. Did you have recently even some of your friends that they did something different than usual, or they wanted actually to do something different than usual? Whether take a trip, go into a different sport or a new sport, or learn something new, or actually moving forward, taking their life to the next step, and they're trying. They have not there yet. They're trying. What's going to happen is that you immediately, a process is going to come in your brain, which is a comparison process. Wow, he's doing great. Am I be able to do that? You see, the point is that if your friends cannot see it for themselves, they won't be able to see it for you, which means they try to compare and see like, hey, can I do what Hisham wants to do? If I can, then hey, good luck, man. That's really good. If I can't, then I'll try to discourage you. And again, it's a protective mechanism. It's more like they don't like you. It's just, again, another thing that you need to understand. Now, what about in the work environment? What about your coworkers? Let's say you are about to give that crazy pitch in order for you to shift the business to a different level in your organization, or you want to apply for a different department, or you want to participate in something or organize something, and then you get a coworker who tell you like, hey, man, it might not work as well, and you know what, it's too hard, you're going to be spending hours and hours, and you know what, I have a friend of mine who did this, it didn't work, and all this kind of different excuses not to do it. Now in this thing, you have to be a little bit aware of two things. They might be worried about you, same like the model of the friends and family, and in this case, you know the answer already, you understand where they come from, and then you behave accordingly. And now the second thing was that they probably don't see it for you because, and this is, I'm not saying that people are bad, but sometimes if people don't want to see you succeed, if it happens, if you have those crappy people around you, they will always try to make it as appealing as possible for you not to do what you're about to do. So you won't go ahead and do it. And the reason for that is gonna be, what I mean is that you need to be aware of that as well. What kind of person are you trying to take their opinion? And which just comes into a basic thing is that whenever you want to take somebody's opinion, this person has to have certain characteristics. Number one, he is qualified to so that's your mind. Your mind has always the connection of feeling that whatever is going to happen, I have an intuition about it, I feel about it. I'm making a second stop here. I could see Omama. Is everything okay? Are we online? Everything nice and going smooth? Please answer me.
Yes. All is good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. All right, I'm continuing that now. So so getting back to the topic is that your brain would your brain, the way your brain thinks, the way if you understand that part, everything in your life would change, and I guarantee you that. So your mind deals with intuition and intangible stuff. This is why if you managed, and hopefully you will today, take your brain from the driver's seat and yank him out and get your mind to drive you, to get yourself into a flow mood, to flow rather than just float, to try to feel your senses and your environment rather than just act upon what lies behind you, the solid facts. Because at the end of the day, if you want to make things big in life or big things in life, then you're going to need to act upon your intuition, and you do stuff where nobody can see it, and you take steps where nobody else can actually understand how your brain works. Is going to make it a little bit easier when you get the next question, the next reason why you shouldn't do stuff. You know, yeah, it's my brain working. It's my brain working. Let me take it out, put my mind in. This is how I feel. I'm going to go and do it. And then this is going to help us when we go into the risk assessment section. Now, moving on to the next, another part of the internal reasons is that you're half-hearted about stuff. You really want to do it, but yeah, so. If it happens, it happens. You're not really sure about it. You're not really dedicated to do so. Excuse me. And being half-hearted about things does not help you anyway. Actually, it takes out of your mental resources, mental capacity, your physical capacity, your overall feelings, because it's like running a process, but this process is just running on the outside. You're hoping that things are gonna be okay, which is not really good, my friends. And this is really not the best way to do stuff, because because if you go through life half-hearted about things, life becomes bland, like you're eating a meal without salt and spices. You get bored of it very soon. There is no flavors. Half-hearted actions are really a waste of time, because you're taking half-hearted action is doing like you're doing a gambling. If it works, I'll continue. If it doesn't work, I won't continue. And the reason for that is that if you're ready to take the step, you need to burn all the boats. Burn all the boats, move out, do your stuff, and just do it. You know, like Nike, just do it. I love this, because you're just gonna go crazy. And when we talk about risk assessment in a few minutes, we're gonna talk about it. What happens if I burn all the boats and I took the risk? What now? What if it doesn't work and all this stuff? Which takes us to the next question. I mean, the next highlight of how the brain works. The other internal process in the operating system, the default mechanism, which says, what if? Your brain is always going to give you these ideas. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't? You don't have the money? What if you don't have the resources? What if I don't manage to go through? What if you lose your current connections or current network, current relationships? What if it doesn't? What if you waste your time? What if? And if you allow yourself to listen to all this crap, I don't know if we can swear or not, Umama, but anyway, here you go. If you allow to listen to all this, negative vibes, and you actually give attention to it, the next thing is going to be spinning your wheels and stay stuck where you are. Another internal aspect is the home and culture. I was brought up in the Middle East, and if you are watching and you're brought up in a like-minded mentality overall, we got a background that we rarely would you find a family would actually support the kids to go and take risks and try to hurt themselves. Again, as I said earlier, we try to keep us fluffy. So home and culture. You could be raised in a way, if you go back in time and see how you've been brought up and do a self-reflection, which is going to help you actually see clearer why you're behaving the way you're behaving. Do you remember how was your family treating you, or how did you grow up? You know, sometimes one of the things that I've seen and still embedded in my brain is that a few scenarios where a family brought a shoes to one of the kids, or two of the kids actually, and the shoes is new and it's a nice shoes. And then I've seen that scenario where the dad was telling the kids, because the kids got the shoes dirty. I don't know, sand or mud or whatever. And the kid, the family, the response of the father was, "What are you doing? Do you know why you done that? This is very expensive shoes. This is very expensive. You shouldn't do this." And he's actually telling him off, because after he gave him his shoes and he owned the shoes, the kid now has to be responsible of knowing that the shoes is expensive. Now the family is imposing a tremendous psychological limitation on the kid. You know, rather than you go and build up the kid and tell him, hey, your shoes is new and nice and you got it dirty, you're going to be using it for a while because you got it dirty, but it's your shoes. Try to, try to take care of your shoes. Rather than saying something that would build you in a positive way, you go going into the negative side and getting the kid to think about money and how he's limited about this money, and his family is limited, and they start to think about it. Is it expensive? A kid should not ever think about money because they don't understand the concept that way. When you have a kid like, what, 5 years old, 6 years old, I don't know, and then they think, oh no, but it's expensive. Daddy is expensive. Why would you impose so much limitation on your family? I'm sorry, this is stupid. You could be smart about it in a different way, because you can always go and say like, hey, in my opinion, my experience, yeah, we don't have much money at the time being, so take care of your shoes. This is ownership, rather than you did this, you did that, you did that. It's a big difference. It's the same way, I mean, the same concept, but it's being said in two different ways. So think about that. So home and culture comes one of the things that how we are developed and how we are being raised. And some of the stuff, sorry, I'm just like, excuse me. And some of the stuff that we need to break free of. Allowing doubts is another thing. What about when you got everything set up, nobody's saying no to you about all the stuff we spoke about, life looks great, all you need to do is take the step. Nobody is self-imposing any limitation, no problem with the family, friends, co-workers, maybe even in the scenario that you live alone, you want to do something and nobody's going to affect you, do whatever you want to do. But then again, an internal process called doubt. It just goes with the doing. If you let your brain in the driver's seat, you're going to have one of the perfect applications, and it's really, really, really responsive. As soon as you think of something, it just comes out. Doubts. What if it doesn't work? Oh, am I sure of myself? And it taps into your self-confidence. Am I going to do it? Will it be okay? Am I have the power and the knowledge to do so? And so on. Doubt is already connected with fear. The fear. I'm afraid it's not going to work. Well, let me tell you this. If you're afraid of something, what are the physiological, what do you feel about your body? If you're afraid of something, or afraid of taking a step, you can get sweaty, probably have butterflies in your belly, and you can probably a deep breathing or a fast, shallow breathing, right? This is symptoms of being fear of taking, let's say, public speaking on stage with 100,000 people in front of you. Is it fear or is it excitement? Because if you're excited about something, you have the same symptoms. You have butterflies in your belly. You have feeling a little bit of over breathing or shallow breathing. You feel maybe sweaty as well. So both fear and excitement has the same effect on your body. Pretty much very close effects on your body. So the trick is to what to label, which one is right. It's like the kid and the shoes. It's the same thing. How you perceive things, because to you, if you want to go do something crazy and you have this feeling, ask yourself, is it fear or is it excitement? When you go to risk assessment, you'll be able to answer this. Now, the last part is risk taking. How do we take risks? Should I take the risk now? Should I go and take the risk just because I am convinced that what I'm doing is great and is going to work, or not? How far can we go with risks? Just connecting again, doing another stop. Omama, are we there?
Yes, we are, Mr. Sham.
How is our time, Omama? How long do we have?
We have almost 5 to 6 minutes more for the presentation time.
Very, very, very good. Yeah, I don't want to overshoot the timing as well. Very good. So back to taking risks. I'm going to ask you a question. Think deep and answer yourself. Now, risks has three different levels. You have minimum risk. You have maximum risk, well, minimum risk, maximum risk, and then the calculated risk. The minimum risk is where you want to play it safe. The maximum risk is where you go full on. Calculated risk is the risk where you calculate things, which you're going to learn about in a second. Now, my question is, which one is more dangerous? Minimum risk or maximum risk? Think about it. And why? Try to answer yourself. Which is more dangerous? I take a minimum risk and play it safe, or I take maximum risk and I go commando. Things might go wrong. Now, the answer is that the most dangerous risk is the minimum risk. If you take risk on a very small scale where you play it safe, it's same concept of you spinning your wheel in mud, staying stuck because you are not actually doing anything. You're half-hearted. You cannot be half-hearted on things, let alone taking a risk, because you go and take a risk and the minimum risk to try to play it safe. And like with our mentality, again, I'm always relating to Middle East, probably wherever you hear me somewhere else, but because we have this culture that needs to be changed to a better, we need an upgrade, really, is playing it safe would really not yield any results. If it goes well, the winning is minimum. If it goes wrong, the loss is minimum. So either way, it's like a meal, a bland meal with no spices and salt. So minimum risk, it's really a waste of resources and time capacity and mental capacity and physical capacity. Now, maximum risk. Maximum risk is where you go full on and you just do it. You go crazy. And this is, I'm one of these guys, or I used to be, and it's not good either. Because I know, going a maximum risk is that changing the career 6 times. This is, sometimes I'm going to think about myself like, hey, have you been crazy enough? Yes, I am. But do you regret it? No, I don't. But did I do a lot of mistakes? Oh, yes, a lot. Did I learn the hard way? Big time. Hence, 3-time rock bottom and no money. Really crazy stuff. Sometimes I used to cry. Should have been sharing some of these screenshots, documenting my hell trip, or trips for that matter. So taking a maximum risk is not really good either, because when you take a maximum risk, you're just going to go crazy, and it might hit or it might miss. And in both cases, it's not very safe, because the outcome, it's going to be, if you hit a maximum risk, that doesn't mean that your winning is going to be maximum at all. But it guarantees that maximum risk, you might more likely to get the maximum loss, which is not very smart either. This is what I used to do, and it's not smart. Oh, I never was a minimum risk guy, by the way. So moving to calculated risk. So what is calculated risk? How do we take risk about that idea, that concept, that job, that career, that relationship, that project? This is something that I want to learn. This whatever thing that goes inside you and make you tick. What do you want to do? How are you going to take it further? Calculated risk, it goes into 2 questions you ask yourself. First question, doing what I'm about to do, what is the worst possible scenario that could ever happen? If things go so wrong and I took that risk where I lost everything, what are my losses? And you list them down. You're probably going to lose the money, lose the relation, or whatever the project thing is, lose the time, lose the current opportunities, lose the perks, lose whatever. You just write down everything that you're going to lose if really things really went really bad. And then you look at them and you prepare an action plan. Your action plan is going to be as follows. If I really failed or lost the risk and I have all these losses, this is what I'm about to do. Number 1, if I don't have the money, then in this case, I'm probably going to go find a job in X whatever place. If I lost the relation or my network with some people, I have to build a new relation. Now, if I did this and I really lost my relation with someone, I'll have to deal with it, take it in, and then try to live my life onwards in a different track. If I learn something new and it doesn't work, I can always, like, let's say the doctor who wants to play a DJ, for example. So it doesn't work with a DJ. That means things really went bad and I lost my money. I can turn back to home country or go back in and try to go back into my dentistry or whatever the field is. So what I mean is that you always have an action plan for all the losses that you have. And then once you have this ready, this is part one. You got ready for that one. Now you move to the next question. What are the maximum winning that can ever get or achieve? We have another probably 3 minutes before we round up. So what are the maximum, and this is very important, what are the maximum benefits that I'm going to get out of this outcome? I mean, the outcome out of this risk, out of this step, out of this movement forward. And you list everything down. Oh, I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to be the best motivational speaker in the Middle East. Hisham al-Sharbini, this is me. Number two, I'm gonna be doing lectures, webinars. I'm gonna be on TV. I'm gonna be everywhere around the world. Number three, I'm gonna have the most social follow-up everywhere. Number four, I'm gonna have so much money everywhere that I can just help more people. Number five, and so on. So you list everything that makes it a sweet deal. So now you have both extremes. Now, when you have these both extremes, you think the middle point. If you hit the middle point and it's not really bad and it's not good, how is it going to be? What is the percentage? Is it going to be a good living? Is it going to be good? How are you going to feel about it? Now, the final step is to ask yourself another last two questions, which can help you take the decision. With all the maximum losses and all the maximum winnings, with all this, the stuff that you've done already, and you answer all these questions, the first question is it worth the risk? Are you really willing to take the risk? Is it really worth it for you? If the answer is yes, then you should go for it. Now, the second question, do you really want it? Which these two connections are actually related, because it could be worth it, but you don't want it, so you're doing it half-hearted, just for the winning. And this is not a really good recipe at all, especially if you're taking big risks. So if it's worth it and you want to do it and you have all this gut feeling about it and you already prepared yourself for the worst scenario and you have an action plan, then in this case, what you do is that you get your brain out of the driver's seat, you yank him back in the backyard, in the back seat or in the trunk, and you get your mind to drive. And in this case, and only then, you will be able to act upon your intuition, your feelings, your spirit, and you go full on. And when you go full on, this is where things changes and bubbles comes in and your personality comes in, because you took off all the surrounding limitations, whether it's internal or external, and then you go forward with life. I tell you that because I've been there a few times. Now, the in the future, which is your next step, but we're not going to be discussing it on this webinar, because that's a whole different webinar or a session or a lecture, or is that once you took off all the limitations, how do you bring your idea to life? How to take the step? So let's say mental part, you fixed it, you know enough about the system to break it, and now you're ready to take the step forward. So how do you take this step? How do you actually get the idea into really solid ground, and how would you go? How do you get the idea? How do you plan for the idea? How do you rationalize, make the idea rational, so you can take forward steps? And how can you minimize the risk for something like this? You can do this by research, by modeling, by understanding the difference between feature and solution, partnership and collaboration. We can talk about this at a later stage. So right now, I'm ending the webinar. I would like to thank you all for showing up today. And it means a lot to you that you've been spending time to be here or watching a replay. And once this happens, when you have that much investment and trying to better yourself, it always has to yield something positive. The screen right now is how to follow me. You can find me anywhere. I'm all over the internet. I'll be more than happy to assist as much as possible. I would like to thank you all, and I would like you to remember one thing, is that if it feels right and you have the guts to hit the wall and take the hit, then do it. Because when you reach 90 years old or more, and you look back into your old self and memories and photos, you really don't want to feel the regret of not acting upon your life. I wish you the best. I'm Hisham Sherbini, the Wake Up Coach. Omama, thank you very much for the webinar today.
Thank you very much for such a fascinating presentation, folks. We are now open for the question answer session. You can either put the questions in the question box in the end of the webinar console, or you can equally raise your hands by clicking on the hand icon available on the webinar console. So let me go straight to the question box. We have a question for you, Mr. Hisham. That is, what is your definition of being stuck?
What is my definition of being stuck?
Yes.
Okay, the definition, again, if you have not been following or ever asked a question, if you have not been following what is getting stuck is as simple as you want to change your current status or environment. Where you are in life right now, whether it's professional life or private life, you are not very, maybe you're content, you're happy, but you want better. But being stuck is going to more dictate that you want to change your life to a better, whether it's, you want to get out of this sucky situation where you are right now, or you feel that you can do better. Life is great. You feel you can do better in life, but you don't know how. You really want to learn. You really want to go forward, but you don't know how. So getting stuck is every single person who wants to have or better their life, but they don't see a clear-cut steps or points on how to do so. This is being stuck. I want to be better, but I don't know how, or I want the very, very next thing. There is more to life than what I just have right now. That's being stuck.
Thank you, Hisham, for the brief answer. We have another one for you. What do we need in order to get what we want?
What do we need in order to get what we want? You need to ask yourself the first question. Why do you want what you want? Why? Why do you really want it? I mean, is it something cosmetic? Is it half-hearted that we spoke like earlier? Or is it something that you really, really want to go after? Because once you get to know the reasons why you want to do what you're about to do, or why do you want certain things, whatever that is, again, whether business projects, relationships, something tangible, whatever you want to have, if you know why do you want it, you will be restless and start to go after it. So you need to ask yourself, why do I want it? And when you know these reasons, I want it to become so and so and so, or I want it because it makes me feel so and so, or because it helps so and so, it's going to make me grow more, then, and only then, you'll be able to see things in a different way. Because again, clear-cut steps can change from a person, to an environment, to a status. And for that, I would advise that in order to get there, find someone who already have that thing that you want, or at that state that you want to get to, and get in touch with them, see how they did it. That's called modeling, by the way. Yes, Mama.
We have another one, that is how to discover and overturn our negative core beliefs so that we can move forward again.
Can you repeat the question, please? Oh, Mama, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sure. That is how to discover and overturn our negative core beliefs so that we can move forward again.
I'm not sure if I heard the first part. You say, how do we discover a negative core beliefs?
So that we can move forward again.
Okay. Okay. How do we discover a negative core beliefs so we can move forward again? Is this your question?
Yes.
Okay. Negative core beliefs. Negative core beliefs. Limitation. Thinking limitation is from the get-go is a negative core belief. In order for you to identify what are the negative core beliefs, it's a simple thing, how it feels. Ask yourself, how does it feel? Does it feel good or bad about it? Why am I, you know yourself. you know that it's very, if you want to take a step forward, but you're always discouraging yourself, then you need to go back. Remember the screen that we had with the brain on our left side, which is A position, the A section, which has the family and the way we brought up and the culture. All this stuff is imposing on us beliefs, limiting beliefs. And to re-summarize the question, or to rephrase actually the answer, I would say that is, in order for you to identify limiting core beliefs, it's anything that makes you feel bad or not feeling very happy to do so. Because at the end of the day, your brain works brain works to get you pain and to get you as much pleasure as possible and move you from pain. But your mind, the higher status, and this is what I'm talking about, your mind has intuition, has the feeling and the sensory feeling that's intangible. So if you feel deep inside your guts that something is not right or something is off about this belief that you have, then probably you're right. Yes, Mama.
Thank you, Hisham, for the brief answer. Before we end the webinar, do you have any concluding remarks, Mr. Hisham?
Do I have what?
Do you have any concluding remarks for the attendees, for the participants of this webinar?
I think it's breaking. Do I have a? I'm sorry. Do I have what?